Cents Per Mile, featuring Charles Gracie and Paul Gibson, with loads of recruiting and marketing experience and backed by the largest driver audience in the world. We deliver carriers the driver perspective, find solutions, and help make sense make sense.
Welcome to Cents Per Mile. I'm your host, Charles Gracie.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. What are we talking about today, Charles?
We're going to talk about a 2025 overview. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about finishing this year, what to look forward to next year.
Yeah.
Or if there's anything to look forward to next year.
Which I can appreciate that statement being the opposite of all of the statements you made at the beginning of the year. Cool. All right. But before we do that, we got to do what we always do. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're basically anywhere you get your podcasts. So if you could go like, subscribe, or rate, it helps give us some momentum so we can get further out there and do some cool stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, you can also go to centspermilepodcast.com. You can suggest a topic to be a guest or even to become a sponsor.
Yep. Sponsors. Who's our sponsor today, Charles?
Meet Bubba AI, your 24/7 AI voice dispatch assistant built to keep your trucking business moving. Whether you're an owner-operator or run a small fleet, just speak to Bubba and he gets to work finding top-paying loads, calling brokers, negotiating rates, knocking out the paperwork. Built for owner-operators and small fleets who want to move faster, earn more, and ditch the busy work. Check out Bubba AI.
All right, cool. So thanks to Hey Bubba, our new sponsor. And basically most of the stuff we're going to talk about today is news. So we're going to go ahead and skip 10-2 news, and we're going to cut straight to going behind the desk with Tenstreet.
Do you want to grow your fleet but get buried by paperwork, slow hiring processes, and outdated systems, all while struggling to comply with changing safety regulations? Enter Tenstreet, the all-in-one platform that simplifies driver lifecycle management by bringing marketing, recruiting, onboarding, safety, and retention together in one place. Tenstreet coordinates and streamlines all your operations. Post to dozens of job boards at once. Speed time to hire with pre-population and AI to get more full applications faster. And manage the entire post-hire process, from cutting costs with online onboarding to integrating all safety data into one dashboard, to improving retention through thoughtful engagement. Whether you have one truck or 1,000, our expert team is here to help. Sleep soundly knowing you can pass an audit, attract needed drivers, and achieve your business goals. Join the thousands of carriers using Tenstreet. Sign up for a demo today.
All right, so it's time to make sense. We do have some news in here because, like I said earlier, that's pretty much most of what we're going to go back over is what the years looked like. But before that, it's nice to actually be back in studio. We've been out for a bit. It was F3, then it was BCS, then it was Star Stripes and White Lines, and it's almost like we just started being a touring show there for a minute.
Oh, yeah, we were everywhere, man. Met a lot of great people, had a lot of great content, a lot of great conversations, but it is kind of nice to be back in the home studios.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to be back after what felt like weeks of travel. Well, I guess it was weeks of travel. 3. That was insane. But F3 was super cool. Like I definitely liked the vibe this year, and it's crazy the people that you meet there. Like there are some people at F3 that you end up meeting that you're like, oh, there's a person that did that. Whoa.
Well, I mean, man, F3 it's always an experience, but this year with this kind of market, seeing these people come together under a common cause to just network, share their experiences on the industry, share their expertise and their outlooks, it was really exciting. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're also running into like the people behind the people that you know from things. Like you see people like come up and be like, hey, we have this. And it's like a lot of times at F3, you get to meet the people like behind or above those people. And you're like, oh, there's layers to all of this. And BCS is great because BCS is just meeting people in bulk.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of great conversations at BCS, a lot of great content. I got to be the MC, so that was a lot of fun. A lot of great networking events. It was a good time, and we were in Orlando.
And we got to see Josh. Man, I love Josh. Well, that and like it's also wild in this market, which we'll definitely get to, sir. Oh, it's gonna. Anyway, this market that we're in, and a lot of people, like stop and travel and being selective. It's wild to see a conference that has grown every time they do an event. That's insane.
Well, it's impressive, and it also speaks volumes to the industry and the people of the industry, their determination to keep moving forward, even when it looks kind of grim when you look forward.
Yeah, and Star Stripes and Wildlands Truck Show was just a good time.
Yeah, Bennett Family of Companies knows how to throw a party. We got to hang out with our friend Tony Justice. Got to see a lot of the Freight family. Got to see, a lot of good vendors out there trying to represent raising money for a good cause. Reach Across America. Huge shout out.
Yeah, and David and everybody. That was a great time. But yeah, so cool. Well, we've recapped where we've been. Earlier this year we went to another BCS. We went to Matt's. I think that's most of where we've been this year. But yeah, you got some news stories for us.
I do. So up first off, CDLLife.com, driver in fatal Florida U-turn calling for further evidence evaluation prior to his trial. The truck driver involved in that fatal, infamous U-turn crash in Florida earlier this year is calling for further evidence to be evaluated prior to his trial date. The 28-year-old Mr. Singh appeared in front of the judge via video call on Thursday, November 13th at about 10:30 a.m. He is currently being held in St. Lucie, Florida on 3 counts of vehicular homicide for the crash earlier this year. According to local news, Singh's attorneys requested that his blood samples be released for independent analysis and access to the vehicles involved in the accident be granted for further investigation, allowing for further evidence evaluation. Prosecutors did not object, and those requests are expected to be completed before the end of this year. The defense has also requested more times to review discovery materials, which was granted. Singh has been deemed indigent and unable to afford legal counsel and receive third-party funds to retain private counsel. So there's a lot to digest here. This is one of those things that I believe when we look back at this event, this is going to be one of those catalysts for all the movement that we've seen. It became the poster child for the non-domiciled CDLs. It's become the poster child for the ELP. It's become the poster child for raising the barriers to entry in trucking. And we've seen that progress and get a lot of momentum, but we've also seen it get paused. It's being challenged like anything this administration does. It's being challenged in court and it's been paused.
I mean, hey, so let's rewind. It's not the administration pausing this court hearing. That guy ran into a bunch of people. That's just a court thing.
I'm not talking about pausing the court hearing. I'm talking about we saw the movement for non-domiciled CDL. We saw the movement for ELP enforcement. We saw the crackdown, and that is now being paused and challenged in court. And I have one solid opinion on this, and my opinion doesn't represent a network. My opinion doesn't represent anyone else other than myself. But that's bullshit. Why are we pausing positive movement in the industry when we've been at a race to the bottom because of a driver shortage narrative that has brought us and ruined this entire industry? And now we're finally getting steps in the right direction. And there's people hiding, lurking in the shadows that want to challenge us in court because they like the race to the bottom. They like the cheap labor. They like the exploited workforce.
Sir, do you hear yourself? Did you just ask why are we halting positive change in the trucking industry? I would like to introduce myself. My name is Paul. I have a podcast called Cents Per Mile where we openly discuss how trucking won't stop positive movement forward in the trucking industry.
So my big gripe here, man, is this falls in line with a couple other topics. Like we see the pause happening. That pause worries me on a couple different levels. One, some people have attributed some of the stair-step positive growth in rates and stuff to the people being scared to go on the road that don't belong on the road. Now we put a pause in it. These people in mid-fourth quarter are going to come flooding the market back and further drive rates down. I mean, it's simply supply and demand. that worries me a lot. That concerns me, being the timing of the year, the current year statistics, and the outlook going into next year. I really want them to wrap this up and go back to this enforcement efforts and get out of the way of positive movement. But also, I can't have this conversation without having the conversation about the people that painted the narrative that allowed the race to the bottom that led to tragic events like this. And that is the ATA. The ATA painted the driver shortage narrative for decades and now has flipped to a driver shortage of quality. And I have a problem with that. You don't get to change your narrative that has damaged this industry to what we see today being nothing more than headlines, and then change your narrative and think that people are going to forget. I want accountability. I actually said it on my other show the other day. I want Chris Spear to be accountable. I want the ATA to be accountable, and I want people to hit them in their wallet and take away those membership dollars so they can be accountable.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Let them have that. That's a silly hill to fight on, to die on. The hill to die on and to fight on is that they went from a driver shortage to a lack of quality drivers, when in fact, give me a second, which in fact are the most exploited workforce in America. The problem is quality jobs. But you know what? When you're represented by the members that you are, you tend not to want to attack that because that's kind of a shot at home.
Well, and the other part of that is, yes, there is a shortage of drivers of quality because we don't have quality jobs. We need quality carriers. We need quality pay. We need quality home time. We need to be competitive in today's workforce and for the people that we're trying to attract into this industry. And until we can face that and address that up front, be honest, and look in the mirror, we're going to have problems like what we have. We're going to have people that are less than ideal behind the wheel because the people that are ideally behind the wheel that we want don't want to do the job.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And sorry, I had to give you the Bernie Sanders fingers, but like that's
the fact that you had to even compare yourself to Bernie Sanders is it tracks.
But either way, it's one of those things where it's a lack of quality jobs. So let them rant all they want about a lack of quality drivers, but also like that's wild because like they're pretty involved in a lot of those CDL schools. So,
but that lines us up for our next article, and that's why I picked these articles, because I think they're fitting of the current state of trucking. So the next one is off CDLLife. It's 4 arrested for truck stop, card skimmer, and diesel theft scheme, according to the California sheriff. 4 people have been arrested in connection with a credit card fraud and diesel fuel theft scheme that took place at the truck stop in Bakersfield, California. On November 6th, in Kern County Sheriff's Office received multiple reports of fraudulent credit card use totaling thousands of dollars from a truck stop in Lagoon Drive in Bakersfield. An investigation was launched, and KCSO identified 4 suspects using trucks to steal diesel fuel. KCSO says that the suspects used several vessels, including fuel tanks, 5-gallon water bottles loaded in the bed of 2 pickup trucks to hold those stolen fuel. 2 of those trucks were tracked down at a nearby hotel. The police were able to arrest the individuals responsible. The execution of a search warrant led police to computers and electronic equipment commonly used in credit card skimming. They then located a 3rd suspect truck and arrested that individual. Actually, 2 individuals involved with that truck. Police say that all 4 suspects were booked for fraudulent credit card use, alteration of credit card account information, grand theft of property, and conspiracy to commit a crime. They are asking for anyone that had any more information regarding this to call the KCSO or the secret witness hotline. But this is indicative of what we see in trucking. When you lower the barrier to entry, when you lower the earnings and make it impossible for people to find success in the industry, you get bad actors like this that exploit cracks in the system, exploit the profession that we know and love. And this is why I advocate for a higher barrier to entry, not only for drivers, but for carriers, for brokers, for everyone involved. I think we need to be providing stability in this business. Otherwise, we see things like this.
They wouldn't need to exploit the system to make more money if they already made enough money. Why don't you just pay people?
Well, you're always going to have bad actors. That's a
Theft is a result of poverty. Not everybody who steals is Winona Ryder or our close friend who should not be named that has a thing for like pint glasses.
and I'm not gonna like go through the names one because I don't want to even try to pronounce them. But like when you see the list of names here, it paints a bigger picture. When you let bad actors into the industry, when you allow yourself to exploit an already exploited workforce, when you race to the bottom, this is what you get. And I encourage everyone to.
I don't like the names paints a bigger picture because I believe you've already listed a name that doesn't match what you're saying about those names, who's stolen way more money from a lot of people. Okay, so it's like, oh, this is on this level and you're mad about it, sure. But at
this
this,
is nothing more than a race to the bottom.
At this level, it's a race to the bottom. But I mean, it's being, the inertia, the force to the bottom is being pushed from the top.
Oh yeah, I agree with you there. But the race to the bottom opens the doors. When I don't allow people like I would tell you myself, I have a safe driving record. I got out of the truck because it wasn't sustainable for the life I wanted to live. When it's not appealing for people like myself to continue to be behind the wheel and we find other avenues to make our income, and you open the door to other individuals who otherwise wouldn't be here if there was enough of people like myself and the drivers that have gone through the training that respect the industry and they're willing to work at lower wages. And then they're willing to exploit the cracks in the system. This is what you get.
They're willing to work at lower wage, but you know what that means? People are willing to accept to pay lower wages. All of that comes from the top.
My guy.
No, those doors, those aren't doors. Those are floodgates, and they're pushed open. That's the problem. That's why we put Band-Aids on everything, because we refuse to say the quiet parts out loud.
Oh, no, we say the quiet parts here, but I believe accountability matters. Like this is a two-part problem. And yes, absolutely. People that have created this narrative that has driven down the wages, driven down the quality of life to being on the road, they need to be held responsible. But also.
So what you're talking about, the also that you're about to talk about, is literally just a symptom of what you first said.
No, absolutely. But you have to address them all.
Don't get distracted. Use that as ammunition to punch up.
Well, and we have no reservations about punching up on this.
We don't, but we do have a third story.
Yeah. So, and this, we can't talk about what's happening in trucking without talking about this. So there's obviously the non-domiciled CDL crackdown. Now that has since been paused as enforcement, but nonetheless, US DOT says 17,000 non-domiciled CDLs issued by California are to be canceled. The US Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who is doing an amazing job, in my opinion, on trying to address trucking's hemorrhages that just won't go away because no one wants to do anything other than put a Band-Aid on them, has announced a sweeping action against non-domiciled commercial driver license holders who were licensed by the state of California. 17,000 illegally issued CDLs are to be revoked. He took to X, which is very indicative of the current administration. They like going the X. And he tagged the California Governor Newsom and accused him and his state being caught red-handed after weeks of claiming they did nothing wrong. Now that we've exposed their lies, 17,000 illegally issued trucking licenses are being revoked. This is the beginning. California must revoke every illegal CDL or license for non-domiciled CDL holders. This was straight from Secretary Sean Duffy on his X account. And people started taking to the comments. And Duffy said that Wednesday, California Department of Motor Vehicles has admitted to illegally issuing 17,000 non-domiciled CDLs to dangerous foreign drivers. He goes on to quote, notices have been issued to those 17,000 non-domiciled CDL holders and their license no longer meets federal requirements and will expire in 60 days. Now, I want to pause the quote there because as somebody that held a CDL, as somebody that's grown up in this industry, if you determine these people don't belong on the road, why are we given 60 days? Like, cease operating that vehicle now.
Well, I mean, 60 days because at the same time, like, regardless, and I know I agree with you. Like, my thing is, one, don't punish the drivers. Two, punish the carriers. Punish the carriers, punish the state. The drivers just, they had an opportunity and they took it. You can't blame them for that. But at the same time, if you take that many drivers off the road, if you Thanos snap them, you're like, oh, I'm inevitable. Then what's going to happen is that's 17,000 people pulling freight, right? So if you do that like that, that's
Yet, we're
gonna
all having a better time.
the supply chain, the short-term supply chain disruption, that's gonna be rough. You can't like that would be rough.
It would be welcome. Supply and demand, brother. The people out there could pick up the tab. It's going to cost people a little bit more. Brokers might make a little bit less, but like, listen, safety first. My wife, my children, your children, my family are out on these roads. If you've deemed 17,000 people to be illegally holding a CDL, that's a safety issue. They should come off the road immediately. Not 60 days. I understand maybe 7, like get that truck somewhere safe, maybe finish that load and park that thing, but 60 days? That's a failure in the system.
Well, I can see it, but also at the same time, I think a lot of this, what I struggle with is a lot of it when it happens too fast, it puts a shock in the system. Like we talked about that bill that, potentially solidifies all of this that the lady from Texas put forward. But the idea of like maybe, she at least gives 6 months, but she's also talking about taking away reciprocity from Mexican and Canadian CDLs. Like at that point, you do have to at some point make a transition. You can't just snap through everything when there's so many things going on, because things will break in ways that could cause problems. You do that, that's enough to where it can put some people out of business. And while you say, oh, well, they shouldn't have had that, but that's fine. But like, you don't have a list right now of what those things are. They could be vital to infrastructure. They could be several other things. I mean, like if it's somebody, hauling certain things for like power and stuff like that, then at that point that might cause a blackout if it can't get filled fast enough. Like you don't know what those things are. They do. That's why 60 days, I would say, as a man who works very fast, if Duffy says 60 days, it makes sense. And realistically, like, drivers are professionals. You're a professional. If you're a truck driver, you have a Class A CDL.
Not all drivers are professionals.
Well, technically, right?
No, I mean, you are an entry-level position per definition of the workforce classification.
Okay, well, either way, you're certified. You're doing a certified job, which means there are dramatically more amateurs out here on the road who are, I feel, just as dangerous. Smaller vehicles, just as dangerous.
Yeah, y'all suck at driving. I'll call it for what it is. But yeah, so that is the current state of things. Like that, we covered a lot of different things. We covered a lot of different perspectives on those things. But then there's some other stuff happening in trucking. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. You and I have taken to social media to announce that we have big stuff happening. And I want to give you a shout out. Like, listen, man, I've worked with you for a long time. I'm super excited for whatever you're embarking on. We built this. We've done a lot of amazing things, and we can't talk about the current state of trucking without talking about trucking media. We can't talk about trucking media without talking about a podcast that we built that was to promote the company that we worked for, and then somehow wound up on FreightWaves. And not only do we get the joy of promoting our company that we work at using this and their services using this podcast, but it has become a point of entertainment for people because we get to promote our company services at the same time. We get to talk trucking to all of our listeners and viewers out there. And I get to do it with my best friend.
Yeah. And, I made you look good enough that you eventually got on the radio.
Obviously, you didn't make me look that good because they put me on the radio. They don't get to see my face.
No, there we go. That's fair. Yeah, no, for sure. It's been a blast, and it might still be a thing. I don't know. The future. We're all about suspense here at Cents Per Mile, and just personally on a personal level. I like to keep people guessing. You don't know where we're gonna go. I look like an elder emo up here with my hood. I'm really a ninja.
The fence that you're building is killing me.
Well, I'm pretty sure by the time this airs, everybody will already know. So,
And like, can't you just do breaking news here?
maybe, but it would break a week after because we recorded a week earlier. It would already be broken.
Yeah, but I would know. Like, what's ahead for Paul Gibson?
Oh no, this is recorded on Friday before the week where everybody would find out. I don't know what day they're going to find out, but they'll find out. Either way, anyway, that's enough about that. The future of the show, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, can we just acknowledge though? Take a moment to acknowledge like all that's been accomplished together.
Yeah, man, we've come a long way. But we are running out of time, and I do have to. We got a couple minutes. Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. So far, even looking back at this year, looking back at previous years, looking back at I Miss Josh, like, and then Aaron, who's back there, who pushes buttons.
Yeah, no one gets to see Erin and the work she's done on the show with us. Erin's been with us since the start. Erin does amazing things behind the scenes to make us both look good, and she's an absolute joy to work with. So huge shout out to Erin, who you guys don't get to see, and that's a disservice to you because she's amazing.
Yeah, no, Aaron is absolutely fantastic. And it's been a wild ride.
And a shout out to CDLLife for giving us the opportunity to do this.
And you know what? I'll actually also give you the secret sauce. Here we are. We might still have a few episodes left. I don't know. But either way, I will tell you the secret sauce. I hate podcasts. I never listened to podcasts. They were like, we're going to start a podcast. And I was like, oh. And so I listened to a bunch of podcasts, and I was like, what do I hate about all these? And then I made a podcast where we didn't do those things. And now we're here.
Yeah. That is the thing. Our thing is like nothing else that's out there.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's not that different. But like it's different enough, and we do that on purpose.
Can we acknowledge though, like trucking everyone bandwagons? Like everyone wanted to be an owner operator. Everyone then wanted to be a fleet owner. Everyone wanted to be a third party recruiter. Now everyone wants to do a podcast and quit their jobs.
My favorite thing is everybody now is making podcasts. You know what nobody's making?
Content. Hot take.
There's everybody was making content. Content is king. Now it's like, oh, I'm on a podcast. Oh, you can cut it up, make it. Nobody's making content. Nobody's making content anymore. I wonder if there's a space for that. I wonder if there's a person in trucking who happens to make incredible content. Yeah. But anyway, we've got time for one last question. We talked about the news. We talked about a lot of stuff. We did a look back, a little positive, a little negative, a lot of doom and gloom. Per usual, it's on brand. We got time for one more question, Charles, and you got to give a fast answer. You ready for it? All right. It's November 2025. And you had said some things previously this year and the end of last year. How do you feel about tariffs, dog?
I'm still for them.
Wow, that's a hot take. Cool. And then how do you feel about next quarter? Is it going to be better like quarter one was going to be?
I said it along. It's going to be a stair step. There is no light switch for this shit.
What about next quarter though?
It's first quarter. It's going to suck like every first quarter sucks.
What about second quarter?
It's going to be second quarter. It's going to be stair steps. I don't think we're going to be able to look back at any particular moment of next year and say, this was wonderful. I think we're going to look back and see stair steps. And then I really think it's the year after next where we're really going to be able to look at the industry and say, okay, this is the new norm. But right now we're seeing the shifts, a very volatile market. We're seeing a lot of changes, and as such, you're going to see reciprocal results from those. So
cool. So I asked that for a reason. So for everybody out there, we did an outlook. Here's a little preview of the future. All of the people who have been saying next quarter for 3 years are now saying a year from now. It's been next quarter for 3 years. Now they're all saying a year from now. We're screwed. Anyway, that's all the time we got.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to Sense Per Mile. I'm your host, Charles Gracie.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. See you next time.